Hi there, I'm JonSpade. This is the egg on Thursday, September the 23rd, 2010. Today is going to be a fluff piece because honestly, I have no soapbox to get up on. There's nothing really interesting happening in the news. There's a couple of things, but I don't want to touch on them because I need to dedicate some serious time to what's going on in Canadian politics. All my viewers aren't Canadian. So I kind of want to have some balance. And today I want to have a little bit of fun. It's sort of the lighter side of JonSpade. So a couple of things I wanted to talk about that I was thinking made me laugh. I was sitting in the doctor's office today. It wasn't doctor, it was the lab services to get some blood work done and some other stuff. Nothing serious going on here, just routine. And I have a thing about shoes and feet. And I'm sitting around and I'm looking at everybody sitting there and looking at what they choose to wear on their feet and try to match it up with the person. And it doesn't always work. But I find it interesting how the choices that we make for what we wear on our feet in a lot of cases sort of sum up the person. And it's not the whole parts and everything else. It's just one of those things where certain people wear a certain type of footwear. And it struck me as interesting because, there's a demographic, you see them, they're kids from 12 to maybe mid-20s who love skater shoes. And those are the big, fat, chunky shoe, the tongue's kind of up, and it looks like they're wearing boats on their feet. I can appreciate it. It's fashion. If I was that age, I'd be wearing it because I've always been kind of a fashion whore. I look at them now, I hate them. It's just like, that's your style, I get it, but they're kind of ugly. So I'm a kind of an elitist, but I'm not. My footwear, I'm going to share with you here. This is, I got to take them off. These are my favorite shoes in the whole world. I've had them for about 4 years. And the thing I love about them, see them? Those are my Chucks, size 13. Yeah, I got big feet. Kind of like Fred Flintstone. They're showing the signs of wear, as you can see. But the thing I love about these things is they don't even smell bad. They're 4 years old. I actually wore these to a wedding. I had a really nice, $400 suit on with a pair of brand new leather Chucks. And I was the MC for this thing. And it was one of those things where nobody even batted an eye. Because that's the thing I find about Chucks. No matter what, and I've got like 10 pairs. My wife has 10 pairs. They're super comfy. They look good even when some of them, like these ones here, I find the older they get, the more character they have. They never look ratty. But you see people that hold on to running shoes. And, usually it's the running shoes, that kind of have the pointed toe. And once they start to go sideways and look a little rough, they look rough. Throw them out, especially if they smell bad. Seriously, if you paid $30 for a pair of running shoes that have no character at all, why do you keep wearing them? If you're poor, I understand that. But Skechers, and I know some of you are wearing them out there, are not a lifestyle choice. Oh my God. When I see a young man wearing a pair of Skechers, and I'm talking a guy that's in his mid-20s into early 30s, seriously, Skechers are not cool, man. If you're in your 60s and you're wearing a pair of Skechers, I might consider you somewhat cool, but Skechers are just, when I see that it's a bad look. But who am I? Am I the fashion police? No. Ultimately, what it comes down to is what you're comfortable in. And I think it's important because, people say shoes make the man or woman. And probably more people are looking than you think. It's a big deal. Why is it that people that wear really bad runners are always the people that feel it's okay to wear sweats out in public to do their day-to-day thing? Sweats are never okay. Take some time and dress up, look good, feel good about yourself. It's the whole package because what you emote is what people will give you back. True story. So this got me thinking about other stuff and relationships and how we, what attracts a woman to a man or a man to a woman. And I was actually talking to my wife about this yesterday and sort of the way men are. And, when men are looking at relationships, what's important to them? when they look at a woman, and I hate to say this because men are simple fucking creatures, men are looking and thinking, can I get some of that? It's rare, especially for an adult male, to look at a woman and think, oh my God, there's the butterflies, flutter, 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 flutter. Because I'll tell you something, women aren't interested in a guy like that. Usually they're afraid of a man because that spells instant, over-the-top, creepy commitment type stuff that just, it sends out a lot of the wrong messages. So yeah, when a man's looking at a woman, unfortunately, and you know what? I think there are women that do the same thing, especially when you put it into a bar environment. And women are looking at men, and you know what? It's the animal kingdom. Who gets the most tail? Well, you look at a peacock, for instance. The bigger the plume and set of feathers that they put up, the better the chances are that they're going to get laid. It's the same thing for men and women. But I often wonder, what if we leveled the playing field? What if makeup and hair accessories and big boobs went out of fashion, and a woman had to stand beside a man, and men, we can do things to make ourselves look better too. I don't have too much that I can do with this. It's kind of what it is. When you're bald, you don't have a lot of hairstyles that you can go through. But, I can grow the facial hair. I can shave it off. What I'm saying is we don't have the options to sort of make ourselves look like something that we're not. And I'm not saying that all women do this, but unfortunately the way the industry is, women are geared towards the makeup and the hair, and what you see, finished product, isn't always what you're really actually looking at. And sometimes I wonder if people were more honest about relationships and what they were looking for and who they were looking for, and if they actually took the time to look in a mirror, strip down just the person that's you and what's in here, would you have more honest relationships? Would there be less dysfunction in the world? Would there be less breakups? Would there be less bullshit? These are just things I'm thinking about. Like I said, I'm trying to keep it light today. Because I think about a friend that I have who gets into some bad relationships, always finds pretty boys to date. And no, Spring, I'm not talking about you, although you could be in this mix if you're watching today. It's just as a whole, I find it's one of those things where you don't make honest choices. And if you think about the way women are and the way men are, and we're so completely different, men, well, here's a reality about men, ladies, women that are watching, and about, from the insights I've done, half my audience is female. A man goes into a bar. He scopes the room. He sees the most beautiful woman in the room. And then he sees a woman that's probably... That's my dogs. They're getting excited about something. I don't know what it is. Anyways, and they see a woman who... famous song from the 70s, Trooper 3 dressed up as a 9. And that's kind of what, men aren't stupid. They can see the woman, she has the right look going on. She has the right hair. She has the right clothes. But she's kind of a snooky. And snooky, no disrespect to you. You're not an attractive person, for me anyways. I mean, there are men out there that are probably attracted to you because their eyes never go above this point because they're looking at this. And it's purely sexual. So you get a guy that goes into a bar and they see the hot-looking woman and they see the woman that's dressed up looking like a hot woman. And unfortunately, the reality is the woman that looks really good but is questionable, because until you get her out in the light and get all the makeup and shit off, you're not really sure what you're going to be stuck with. I'm not saying this to be a dink. This is just reality. That guy's going to target her because guess what? It's an easy target. Chances are 9 times out of 10 after a couple of drinks, he's going to get laid. The really hot chick, well, that's an investment in time. And guys, we're impatient. We want it now and we want it tomorrow. Now I'm married, so I've kind of put all that life behind me. I found a wonderful woman that I love. I think we're really evenly matched, and we've got all the bullshit out of the way because, there's more to life than just getting laid. So I guess what the gist of what I'm talking about here is, when you're looking at somebody, be honest about it, because maybe you'll get into less crappy relationships. And I have friends that are in crappy relationships, keep getting into crappy relationships, because I don't think they're honest when they're looking at the person that they decide that they're going to put all their eggs into, the basket, and decide that this is the person, I'm so in love, they're so awesome, and they buy me flowers and they treat me really well. Well, that's great. 6 months down the road, those things change because our priorities change. And unfortunately, when you're first meeting somebody, you've got a motive. And that is the truth. So we're keeping it light. There was one other thing I was sort of thinking about. It's sort of that whole line of things. But I'm at 10:42, and I haven't really talked about anything significant today. And maybe it's best. I just want to keep the egg going because it's important. Oh, I know what it is. I can fill up a few more. I said yesterday, because I've had a few people asking me, what's the deal with John Spade? Your name is John Landry, so why has it changed? There's a couple of reasons. John Spade came about 92. I remember I was on radio. I had a radio show called Saturday Night Chaos, and it was the first of its kind in Calgary. It was a dance show. Anyways, the station manager pulls me into his office one day and goes, you know what, John Landry, what kind of name is that? You need a radio name, and we need to give you a radio name. So before I knew it, he's looking at me and he goes, your name is Johnny Spade. And it was like, okay, that's kind of cheesy, but it'll work. And before I knew it, Johnny Spade became my persona on radio, and then into the nightclubs. All of a sudden, DJ John Spade was who I became. Coming into this and creating the whole egg in this persona, I really evaluated whether or not John Landry would carry me forward. And what I realized is there's a massive country star. He's Canadian, and his name is John Landry. So it's a little hard to compete in the Google world. When you Google John Landry, all you're going to get is pages and pages of John Landry country star. John Spade, however, not that common. And now, if you type in John Spade with the correct spelling, JONSPADE, as one word, I basically own the first couple of pages. I haven't figured out how to use that to my advantage yet, but it's pretty exciting. And I think at some point, I know Google is, I've got an AdSense account now. I haven't really got to the point where I'm setting it up. But these are the things that are in development I'm working on. So I hope that explains why I go by the name of John Spade. And also, it's my alter ego. I can do shit as John Spade that as John Landry, maybe I wouldn't do. I don't know. Maybe I'm just full of shit. That's my egg for today. If you've tuned in this far, thank you, and we'll see you later.